we know what terrorism is because we face it in real life. I will bring up two incidents today to highlight a point that terrorism, in whichever form you see, cannot be sustained, and this is my firm belief, without support of some state power. No terrorist organization, however, threatening or ferocious, can sustain in the long term unless they are supported by some. We have that example in South Asia. We have that elsewhere as well. The people who rammed the Twin Towers in US were supported by we know who. Where they were based, everything is known. Same here. The threat now, the thing that I was trying to tell you about the incident today, and I'm really alarmed, developments in neighboring Bangladesh, because this is bound to affect us in a very major way. Today, the new government, which is presided over the second independence of Bangladesh, as they claim, have allowed a helicopter to ferry Jashmuddin Rahmani, the convicted criminal, the leader of Ansarullah Bangla, one of the leading terrorist organizations, Islamist terrorist organizations in Bangladesh. He was ferried by helicopter to go and attend the namaz-e-janaza, which is the funeral ceremony of his sister in a district of Bangladesh. So there are a lot of people here in Calcutta who are jumping up and down, biplab hocche, Chhatra omuk korche, tomuk korche. This is what it is coming down to. This is exactly what has happened elsewhere in the Islamic world. We have seen the uprooting of an autocrat like Hosni Mubarak, and who followed to power? Morsi, Islamic Brotherhood, because they are most organized. The students can't hold on. They can effect a change by mass mobilization. They are not a political force, to take over power and run the government. Who enters there? People who are highly organized. And who are the best organized people in such situation? When a big party like Awami League is in trouble, who are the people? It's BNP and Jamaat and all these other people who are all sort of, layered. Their relationships are layered. So be sure you are in for real big trouble from the neighborhood. Because we have seen in the past very close connections between terror groups, Islamist terror groups, which originated and thrived in Bangladesh. And when the government there was trying to crack down on them, the complaint of the Sheikh Hasina government, and I've interacted with a number of Bangladesh intelligence officers, সব তো আপনাদের এখানে ভেঙে যাচ্ছে। আমরা এখানে যাদেরকে ধরার চেষ্টা করছি তারা সব আপনাদের এখানে চলে যাচ্ছে। This was a strident complaint when at the level of intelligence exchange, when Indian and Bangladeshi officers, where they will provide details about where some of their extremists have gone. The point I'm trying to make is now that's not going to happen, because now the shape of things that we are beginning to witness in Dhaka, the army chief, General Waker-uz-Zaman, the day he said that we are trying to bring about an interim government and we are in discussion with many political parties, the first name he took was of the Amir of Jamaat-e-Islami. Jamaat, for your kind information, is a banned group in Bangladesh. And the Supreme Court, few days back, upheld the ban on Jamaat. My dear sister, Barrister Tania Amir, who is now under great threat, and Turin Afroz, who was heckled and attacked, Turin Afroz was the lead prosecutor of the International Crimes Tribunal, which tried the killers and collaborators of Pakistan Army in 1971. She was attacked. 2 days before she was attacked, she told me, Dada, Shibir ছেলেরা তো আমার বাড়ির সামনে ক্রিকেট খেলছে কারফিউর মধ্যে. They are playing cricket. And Shibir is Islamic Chhatra Shibir. It's the student wing of Jamaat-e-Islami, which deeply penetrated this so-called big second independence movement of Bangladesh. They're organized force, they got in there. The other boys, they were there. But what I'm trying to drive at is West Bengal is really in for a big trouble. To get back into a bit of background, West Bengal, we have borders with Bangladesh, we have borders with Nepal. During the Maoist movement in Nepal, where was Mohan Vaidya arrested from? One of the top leaders of the movement? From North Bengal. So, even if you don't have a homegrown, radical organization here of that nature, you have a tremendous spillover effect. And then these are the people, when they raise an outfit like that in Bangladesh, they like to raise it here as well, because the appeal for these organizations are quite often global. ISIS or some such group, they are their inspiration. One important point that was raised by Yogita, she was alluding to it without saying it in so many words, is counter-radicalization and de-radicalization. So you look at cultural, assets to launch counter-radicalization, and you also attempt to do de-radicalization with those who are already radicalized. It's easier said than done. My very good friend, Lieutenant Sajjad Jahir, who is Bangladeshi officer who has also written a lot on India-Bangladesh, freedom struggle and that kind of thing. He was given Padma Shri, 2 years ago. He works a lot on this area. And he says our main resource to fight radicalization in Bangladesh would naturally be secular Bengali nationalism, the secular icons. Today, Ritik Ghatak's ancestral house has been demolished in Bangladesh. Every single symbol of secular Bengali nationalism which gave birth to Bangladesh. Bangladesh was not created on the basis of Islam. Pakistan was. Those places have been attacked systematically. Mukti Yuddha, Jadughar, every single area, they've been attacked. And these people who handle the reins of power, the interim government, the army, they stood like spectators. So we have a pretty good, I'm not trying to condone the mistakes, the serious mistakes made by Sheikh Hasina. It is in her time that the plan to create 560 model mosques was taken. I don't have a problem with model mosques, but I have a serious problem when these model mosques were referred to as model mosque cum Islamic Cultural Center. One of my very dear sisters, who was also a minister, earlier very famous actress in Bangladesh, Taran Alim, said, she is the president of Bangabandhu Sanskritik Zone. She said, the model mosque সাথে যদি Islamic Cultural Center হয়, তার মানে কি? আর আমাদের এখানে জারি গান হবে না, লালন গীত হবে না, আমাদের এখানে শুধু ওয়াজ হবে, ওয়াজ মেহফিল হবে. And if you have listened to some of these ওয়াজ মেহফিল by people like Delwar Hossain Saidi, they're not only stridently anti-minority, they're anti-gender, anti-women, horribly anti-women. So when you are, by decision of the state, trying to turn the model mosques, funded by Saudi Arabia, by the way, into Islamic Cultural Center, you are trying to create an alternative cultural pole, undermining the cultural basis which gave rise to Bangladesh. You are systematically, consciously trying to undermine the edifice of secular Bengali culture which gave rise to the movement for Bengali or Bangladeshi independence. And this, mind you, was happening at the time when Sheikh Hasina was very much in power, right? So what has happened today has not fallen from the sky. These trends were already there. We have drawn attention to these factors. One of our chief advisor was the man who everybody believes was the closest to Pakistan. Everybody knew his ISIL link, Salman F. Rahman. His wife is Pakistani, he studied in Pakistan, he supported the cause of United Pakistan in 1971, and he is the biggest money launderer, the biggest bank defaulter. I've exposed him, and he stopped my visa going to Bangladesh. So these were the people who were around Sheikh Hasina. So, but today the danger is very direct. Direct in the sense that people who have come to power, people who are taking over power in Bangladesh, they are allowing a helicopter to ferry Jashmuddin Rahmani, convicted Islamist radical leader, Ansarullah Bangla team, who had made a list of secular Bengali intellectuals and had openly circulated. Openly. My sisters, Tania, Amir, Tarana, Halim, their name figured in it. A lot of women leaders. They are openly circulated. This Ansarullah Bangla team leader today is getting a helicopter to go and attend on parole the namaz-e-janaza of his sister. So, what I am trying to draw your attention to is that in Hasina's time, there was an effort to crack down on radicals, though she also patronized electoral political considerations. She was also playing with these guys. But she, after the Holy Artisan Bakery attack in 2016, you might have seen the film, what is it called, Faraza, in which one of the boys was killed, very famous Latifur Rahman's grandson, Faraz. I think the film is also called Faraz. Anyway, where he makes this point, he's talking to the terrorists and saying, "Ya amar culture ar tomar oi Islam oi ek jinish na. Bengali culture, your name, why your name is built to." So, if you have seen that film, you will realize, raising this cultural issue, this culture, secular Bengali culture is the greatest asset to fight radicalization in this region. But the way the symbols of secular Bengali culture have been attacked in the last few days in Bangladesh during the course of the second independence movement. I do say it with a bit of sarcasm because independence is achieved once. That is what I understood. They have achieved it a second time. I have no problem with that. But if this is the shape of things that's going to come, you know where Bangladesh is headed. And if Bangladesh is headed, if winter comes, can spring be far behind? West Bengal is bound to be affected. There is a fallback zone here for all these people to act on. And some of them, there's a map circulating now. Some of them actually see this as the sphere of this kind of radical activity. They see West Bengal as an extension of Bangladesh. This is not United Bengal, okay? This is an extension of Islamic Bengal, which is seen as a logical course of activity. This is dangerous. I'm not saying people here will subscribe to it or, the response will be overwhelming. But what I'm trying to say is the danger. For terrorist activities, you don't need, 50,000 people. You need 50 people. You need 10 people actually. How many people came to Bombay and created the chaos, that we witnessed on 2008? Kitne log the? So, to create that kind of thing, and with the technology of terrorism, vastly improved today, vastly improved. And it has several dimensions, including info-terrorism. So, what I'm trying to drive at is that since there is a nucleus which sees the spread of radical, cults across the border, they don't see, they don't define it within the territorial limits of Bangladesh. ওখানে আমাদের লোকজন আছে এইসব হবে টবে ওখানে, that kind of thing. This is where the real threat is. So I will flag 3 points before I finish. Number one, I'm very alarmed at the developments in Bangladesh and the kind of state patronage that some of these forces are likely to get. We saw this last time when BNP Jamaat-e-Islami was in power in between 2001 and 2006, when 10 trucks load of weapons were being unloaded in Kornofuli jetty in the port city of Chittagong with a clear permission of the industry minister, because that jetty was under the industry ministry, not under the port ministry. And who was the industry minister? Motiur Rahman Nizami, Amir of Jamaat-e-Islami. So you see the point. 10 trucks of weapons were being loaded in Chittagong. They were supposed to reach Paresh Borua, Alpha, and other extremist groups in Northeast, and also some of the Islamist groups within Bangladesh. So for these people who are into this kind of activity, this is not limited to the territorial limit of Bangladesh. They see Northeast, Eastern India as a logical extension of their activity. That's where the real danger is. And if this kind of activity now have state patronage, we are beginning to see the early symptoms of that. God bless this region. The third point is, what are we doing? What are we doing? To say, for a very long time, we were oblivious to the dangers in Bangladesh. My good friend Mahfuz Anam, who edits the Daily Star, has always been jokingly saying, Dada, India has two neighbors, Pakistan and China. We don't figure in your calculation, but we can be a real danger. And you would say, দেশটা যতক্ষণ বাঙালির দেশ আছে আপনারা নিশ্চিন্ত, এটা যদি মুসলমান দেশ হয় আপনাদের সমস্যা হবে. So if Bangladesh turns Islamist, already when General Ershad turned it into Islamic Republic, nobody tried to change that. So here the danger is the state patronage. Terrorists have been there. Terrorist organizations have been there. If they start getting state patronage, then you watch out. Now, what are we supposed to do? Unlike what Yogita said, de-radicalization, counter-radicalization, you can do it in your own territory. But when there is a clear advent of terrorism from across the border, you have to fight it the very hard way. You don't have a choice. You have to fight it the very hard way. And then if people talk of human rights, well, I have less of an ear for that kind of thing. You have to fight terrorism the very, very hard way. There's no choice. You have to fight it the way, that for the last few years, our security setup has tried to fight it. Not that we have got all kinds of support, even from our friends like the US. They're trying to create, they're trying to create problems for us when we have gone and hit terrorist leaders who have put bombs in our aircrafts. You've seen what the Americans, the Canadians have done with us. But we at least tried to hit it the very hard way. Ghar mein ghus ke marenge. That's the way to fight this. You can't, wait on the border for these people to come in. You will stop 5 guys, 10 guys will come in. So you have to hit it at the roots, and you have to do it the hard way. Now, for those people, sort of soft talking all the time, this does not work. Terrorism understands only one language, the force. And you have to fight it. You have to fight iron with iron. Yeah, counter-radicalization, de-radicalization is all very fine. You hit it, you do it at the grassroots, you do it at the basics. But when the problem is there, right on your doorsteps, you don't sort of take out sweetmeats and face it. You take out something that works with them. So then you have to fight force with force. And we've done this for the last couple of years. Under the able leadership of Ajit Doval, these things have happened. I work with him. But the point is, we've got less of a cooperation even from our so-called friends in the West. They don't create problems. They've created problems for us. When we have tried to hit somebody, who put bombs in our planes, the Sikh terrorists. You've seen that. When Hardeep Singh Nijjar was killed, now they're trying to find out which Indian officer was responsible. I know the people who were involved. This is, of course, a Chatham House rules, it's inside. We know who the people, we are in the same team. But the point is, when Israel goes and strikes, it's okay with the US. When we do something like that, we are supposed to behave Gandhian. What is this logic? So I'll end here by saying 3 things. State power patronage, without which no terrorism can survive. An organic basis for that kind of terrorism, which exists, which we can all see. And the third thing is the role of the big powers. No double standards, sir. If Israelis can go and hit somebody, in Uganda, we have a right to do that as a nation. Thank you.